The world is not preparing for an international conflict. The global currency reset, GCR, is officially underway. Iraq banking update. The real reset happened while you were distracted. Planned energies. For a reason, he is the chosen one. The one who understands. You didn't come here by accident. We begin. The world is not preparing for an international conflict. It's preparing for a massive financial repositioning under the guise of tariffs. These tariffs are not about trade. They are economic smokescreens designed to justify the sudden appearance of hundreds of trillions in previously blocked capital. Over $500 trillion is being introduced into the system through a structure that makes it easy to audit and publicly explain. The capital is not transferred by governments but held in trust through designated custodians. These individuals are visible to legal systems but are not empowered as owners. This is a decentralized protection mechanism to ensure clean flow without corruption. Funds are distributed internationally, 80% for humanitarian projects, 1% logistics commission for custodians, 19% in U.S. Treasury bonds to consolidate stability. The strategy? An invisible rollout, no panic, no market shock, just a calculated economic justification for activating a suppressed planetary wealth structure. Tariffs become the perfect camouflage, allowing governments to claim, "We generated this surplus through rigorous trade reform," while discreetly channeling rescue assets through alternate routes. This is not a theory. It reads like a pre-official narrative summary. It's already happening. A sovereign debt reset is underway, but no one will call it that. They'll call it economic stabilization or monetary flow alignment. But it's the rebalancing of a stolen world. Who wrote this? Not a guru seeking followers. Someone either in the room where it's happening or close enough to the terminal to feel its pulse. This is not the end. It's the silent beginning of a reconfigured financial system, designed for purpose, not plunder. Open your eyes. This is how the flood begins, not with noise, but with balance sheets. Shared by 589 Bull. Information: the global currency reset, GCR, is officially underway. Before April's Day of Liberation, the U.S. Treasury Secretary stated in February that the U.S. was considering currency manipulation as part of the tariff debate. Yesterday, the Treasury Secretary told Fox that any tariff agreement must include an end to currency manipulation. Shared by Reuters, Iraq banking update. The central bank governor of Iraq announced that banks must comply with international standards. Those that fail must merge with other banks or face closure. The option is on the table. Measures are being taken. Shared by A&J, the real reset happened while you were looking the other way. The real financial coup? The day the money printer was nationalized, silently, in March 2020. While the world was distracted by lockdowns and stimulus checks, the U.S. Treasury quietly absorbed the Federal Reserve. This silent acquisition redefined monetary control, ending central bank independence and marking the start of a new financial era. As the world watched infection numbers rise and stimulus checks arrive, a deeper transformation unfolded behind closed doors in Washington. No announcement, no debate, certainly no headlines. In March 2020, the U.S. quietly nationalized the most powerful financial institution in the Western world, the Federal Reserve. This is not hyperbole. It was a precise structural maneuver orchestrated by the Treasury under then-Secretary Steven Mnuchin. The result? The Fed, long hailed and feared as an independent central bank, became functionally subordinate to the U.S. executive branch, economically, legally, and operationally. How? At the peak of pandemic panic, Mnuchin's Treasury created special-purpose vehicles, SPVs, financial entities designed to inject liquidity, stabilize markets, and buy distressed corporate debt. The twist that rewrote economic history. The Fed was no longer autonomous. These SPVs were owned and controlled by the Treasury. The Fed could not activate or fund them without direct Treasury authorization. Translation: for the first time in modern history, monetary policy was no longer exclusively a Fed decision. It became a coordinated operation led by elected officials. This wasn't just an emergency tool. It was a silent power shift, transferring control of the money printer from bankers to the government. Implications: interest rates could now be politically managed. Corporate bailouts could be structured around loyalty and agenda alignment. Liquidity could be selectively injected to reinforce fiscal priorities or geopolitical goals. In short, the line between economic planning and political strategy was erased. With the Fed under functional control, the U.S. government was now positioned to reimagine the entire architecture of money. This wasn't just about dollars and debt ceilings. It was about shifting the entire system toward BRICS digital assets. Tokenized treasuries, programmable liquidity, sovereign control of strategic digital assets, XRP, XLM, CBDCs, futures instruments. This also explains why digital finance infrastructure suddenly accelerated. The XRP case dragged on as regulators bought time to align legal frameworks. ISO 20022 messaging standards were rapidly integrated. Sovereign debt tokenization pilots emerged worldwide. Gold, crypto, and bonds began behaving like chess pieces, not free-moving assets. The world thought it was witnessing pandemic relief, but it was actually witnessing the rollout of a new financial operating system. For over 100 years, the Fed was untouchable, a privately controlled institution with immense influence over global interest rates, inflation, and liquidity. That era ended silently in 2020. Today, the levers of monetary control are in the hands of state-level operators, not anonymous boards and technocrats. This gives the U.S. government the tools to redesign economic alliances, turn liquidity access into a digital weapon, control the future of settlement systems, debt restructuring, and cross-border payments. And they don't need the Fed's permission, because now they are the Fed. Why didn't you notice? Because it was buried under lockdown chaos, political noise, and stimulus debates. But for those watching closely, lawyers, economists, blockchain experts, this was the moment they knew. The reset had already begun. That's why XRP wasn't dismantled. Tokenized debt is being normalized. Central banks are rushing to define digital identity and custody infrastructure. Traditional notions of money, value, and independence are being rewritten, silently, systematically, and globally. The real reset happened while you were looking the other way. Most people think the financial reset is still coming. They're wrong. It already happened, legally, irreversibly, and silently. The day it happened? March 2020, when the Treasury pulled the Fed into its orbit, restructured its tools, and took control of the one thing central bankers feared losing: autonomy. Edited and translated by Skype Monterey, incoming energies, planned, while solar and cosmic energies continue to rise naturally and at an accelerating pace. I am currently receiving pre-wave energies. This means I will collectively receive very strong and significant energies in approximately 2 to 4 hours from now. Remember, not all incoming energy comes directly from the sun. Integrating these energies into our bodies always takes 2 to 3 days. The most important thing you can do with these incoming energies is to merge with them energetically. Unite with what you're experiencing internally. If you can't, choose a relaxed body, a peaceful, harmonious mind. This will be the path of least resistance and contribute to your expansion. Shared by Amanda Lawrence. For a reason, he is the chosen one. The one who understands. Keanu Reeves is known not just for his iconic film roles but also for his wisdom, humility, and deep understanding of human existence. In a powerful live debate watched by millions, he sat down with Elon Musk to discuss one of the most urgent topics of our time: the future of AI, creativity, and human connection. The clash of opposites. The tension was palpable. Musk, the visionary behind Mars colonies and AI-driven futures, spoke of the need for technological advancement to save humanity. Reeves offered a quieter, more reflective perspective. Perhaps our goal isn't to control the world, but to understand it. The moment that silenced Musk, when asked if AI would surpass human creativity, Musk replied unequivocally, sooner or later, yes. Machines will create art, compose music, and tell stories better than us. The camera turned to Reeves, who paused, then said, but will a machine ever know what it feels like to miss someone? Or to create something beautiful from sadness? Creativity doesn't come from calculation. It comes from experience, pain, love, and hope. The studio fell silent. Even Musk seemed momentarily speechless. This simple, profound phrase resonated far beyond the screen. Why it matters. In a world increasingly lost in technology, Reeves reminded us that our deepest values cannot be programmed. What makes us human isn't our efficiency, it's our imperfection. Sometimes, all it takes is one honest sentence to make an entire room think, even if Elon Musk is sitting there. Shared by Daniel Duger. You didn't come here by accident. Souls come to Earth to experience intense contrasts, love and loss, joy and pain, power and vulnerability. because this accelerates learning in ways other planets cannot provide. Earth is not a punishment. It's a sacred classroom, and every challenge you face is a lesson designed to activate your next level. You came here to grow, to evolve, and to remember who you are, beyond pain, beyond patterns, beyond illusion. Forgetting was part of the plan. But now, it's time to remember. Shared by Kat O'Hara.